3 scores, I would think. I don't think it's actually going to be a very close game. I think it's probably going to be very similar to how the Buffalo game went last year. Maybe Cincinnati gets an early lead, and then it's gone like that, and they're just running away with the AFC at that point. So that's my
Yeah,
prediction for the game.
yeah. I I kind of want to like stick with the whole the Cincinnati Bengals thing because I've always kind of like enjoyed watching them, and I agree with you too. Like as a kid, like I remember that Super Bowl that they were in, against the Niners with Rice, Taylor, Montana. Um, I remember my parents and me, we went somewhere for a Super Bowl party, and that was my first experience for like the Super Bowl. And everybody was asking, "Oh yeah, who do you like?" And I was just a tyke. I was a kid, and all I knew about the 49ers was Joe Montana because my grandmother was a huge Joe Montana fan. She
Right.
followed him from Notre Dame because she was a big Notre Dame fan. So I was like, "Hey, it's all right, San Francisco." It's like as far as I knew, it wasn't anybody, no Eagles. So I didn't know any better. And I remember that game because Anthony Munoz got hurt in that game. Remember, he broke his ankle. And I remember seeing that, and that was a nasty injury. And I remember being a young kid going, "That's not right. No, that
Yeah.
your foot's not supposed to move like that."
That was
And
a huge injury because he was the best offense. He's the best offensive lineman they think ever. So
yeah,
losing that guy, and it's not like how it is today where people think next man up. You lose a guy like that, you're screwed.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, so that was my first introduction to the Cincinnati Bengals, and you're right, they were always like that team. You kind of rooted for them. You wanted them to do good. They were a cool looking team. And I think for a lot of years they were just held back by Marvin Lewis. Like the fact that he was the head coach of that team for so long, that was a disgrace to that team.
I mean, the owners didn't really help themselves out. I mean, whenever
No.
you're stuck in mediocrity for that long, the owners are generally the ones to blame. Bad hires, bad drafting, bad front office, bad everything. And, getting a winner, a proven winner like Joe Burrow to come in and just change the culture in one fell swoop. I mean, that's what they did there. It's amazing what that kid, how that kid is. And, like, he's just, the team has swagger now. Um, even though I'm picking the other team pretty heavily in this game, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow goes in there and throws 5 touchdowns and goes away with the win. Because, like I said, he's one of those guys. I said last week I wasn't going to doubt him anymore. I wasn't going to pick against him. I just something changed between now and then that I was just like, I gotta go with the other team. But um, I just that kid, he can just do everything, and he's so confident. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls it off. The thing about it though is, you saw what happened to Buffalo this year. They made a big step this year. They made it to the conference championship. The AFC is going to be very tough, probably for the next 7, 8, 9 years. I don't know how many more times Cincinnati's going to get an opportunity to get back to this game. It's going to be tough for them. So, I want them to get the most of this opportunity, and hopefully they can cash in on it, and get themselves to a Super Bowl. I'm really rooting for them hard, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean it, just the thought of the level of quarterback competition that's in the AFC right now.
Yep.
Um, and and you never know what's going to happen now with Pittsburgh with Roethlisberger announcing his retirement today. I
Rodgers
mean
could end
they
up in the AFC too.
yeah
You could see Mahomes, you could see Rodgers, you could see Allen, Herbert, Burrow. I mean, it's the AFC stacked
yeah
quarterback wise. If Rodgers ends up there, that's crazy, just crazy.
yep look at
Imagine
that
Burrow had a
Chris.
line. Yes,
Yep,
yes,
yeah, and Chris Lahiff joining in, saying, "Imagine if Burrow had a line." He's absolutely right. I mean, he's borderline. Like the way he's been getting destroyed was kind of like what's his name, Russell Wilson esque. Like he was
yeah.
just,
And he
especially
can't
last week.
and he can't get away from people the way Russell Wilson can. Russell Wilson at least has the wheels and can get away and avoid. Joe Burrow, he stands in there, he just takes it. He's got nowhere else to go. The game against the Eagles last year really impressed me. Number one, Burrow played very well in that game, but
Hmm.
he took an absolute beating, and he just kept going out there and trying to sling and sling and sling. And like to do that, he's not a big guy. He's not Josh Allen size. He's not Cam Newton size. Like you said, he stood in there. He took his beating, and he still kept delivering the ball. a game like from a pro standpoint gave really earned my respect. Like I knew he was a great college quarterback, seeing what he did at LSU his senior year, but like he was like, all right, well this kid he's legit. He's going to be good. It was just such a shame he got hurt because um, it was because he didn't have a line, like Chris said. They built a team to give him a lot of skill position players and be able to come out and do well, but not really to protect him. So they really need to make the investment. I think cap wise, they're actually pretty well off. They got to really try to make the investment and try to protect this kid next year. You saw, KC did that in the offseason. They got absolutely obliterated in the Super Bowl. They went and they paid big money for Joe Tooney. They drafted a really good center. They were able to turn it around pretty quickly. So I'm hoping Cincinnati's able to do that for Burrow. If they do, man, sky's the limit for that team.
Yep, exactly. And just let everybody know, I just turned on the broadcast a few minutes ago, so the entire opening of the show was not thrown out there live. So for anyone just tuning in right now, this is the Philly podcast presented by SixPackCoverage.com, Lots of Rain Watches, and the Monkey's Uncle. Sorry for the snafu for anybody that's just tuning in right now, but
They're
we
all
are covering.
confused.
Yeah, they're all confused. They just have two ugly guys who pop on their TV screens or whatever screen they're looking at talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. We are doing our AFC and NFC conference game preview show tonight, and we got on a little Cincinnati Bengals love, even though Pat and I have both taken Kansas City to win the game, and so has Chris. If you're again, just tuning in or us just popping onto your screen, Chris is not here with us tonight. He's getting ready for a business trip, so he's popping in here and there. Maybe get a little guest appearance in a little bit. But all three of us are taking Kansas City in the AFC game, which will be on Sunday or Saturday. What did I say? Sunday? Saturday? I forget what day it is.
They're on Sunday. Both of
Sunday,
them.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, they're 3 o'clock. It's a shame too because they just keep giving the Bengals the early game, no matter what day they play on. There's no
Yeah.
respect. It's a damn shame. Hopefully next year they're in prime time more. They deserve it now.
Right. Oh, man. Okay, well, with that, we can hop right on into the NFC Championship game, which is Sunday at 6:30, and it is San Francisco versus the LA Rams. And that one I can't wait to watch because as much as I know in my heart that the Rams are going to win this game, I can't see any more like Garoppolo getting this team up and down the field. I really can't. Like I give him a lot of credit for getting this team where they're at. It wasn't all him, but someone's got to throw the ball, and well, also helps when you're throwing the ball to Debo Samuel,
Yeah,
handing off to Debo Samuel, and basically just following Debo Samuel. But
getting out of Debo Samuel's way. Yes.
yeah, so yeah, no, I'm excited for this game. I can't wait to see how it is. I mean, to me, it's basically Debo Samuel versus Stafford, Beckham, Cup. That's what it's going to be.
Jalen Ramsey. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, like that team. Like before we went on the air, Pat was saying how this team was built to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and I 100% agree with him. I'm taking the Rams in this game. I think the San Francisco Magic runs out, and we're going to have the aging veteran versus the, I guess you could say, the new darling of the NFL. We're going to get to see it. I mean, I think we are at least, but I'm taking the Rams. I don't have a score prediction because you never know. You never know with this team. They can put up 20 points. They can put up 35, 45.
Yeah.
So, and I don't see San Francisco beating them 3 times in one season. Like the playoffs are another animal altogether.
That was going to be my literally my first point. They won the two regular season games. I don't see a good team like that getting beaten 3 times by the same team in a year, especially and not to say that San Francisco is not a good team. They're a good team. They're a good team. They're not an elite team. I can't see that team going to the Super Bowl. They would be one of the most undermanned, under talented teams I think that's ever made to a Super Bowl. That being said, Debo Samuel, great player. They have a nice defense, but like Jimmy G, especially with a busted thumb, like come on, like the way they won the game in Green Bay was insane to me. First off, Green Bay's special teams coordinator should be fired. I don't know if he has been already, but I mean, you miss a field goal You could say, well, it's not, or he had it blocked. I'm sorry, he had it blocked where it looked like the center got, I don't know if they've ever found the center. I mean, he got pushed so far away and behind the kicker. I don't know if they've ever found him. He might be like, on Mars at this point. Like whoever came up the middle there just blew it up and blasted that guy into space. Um, so that happens. They get the block punt for the touchdown, and then you go to line up for the final kick of the game, and you got 10 men on the fields. Like, it's just crazy to me that is how it played out. That their third, Green Bay's third, what do they say? Yeah, three phases of the game. Their third phase of the game was that bad that it cost them a playoff game. It's insane to me. But credit to the 49ers, they won the game. I just cannot see that team having to pull some magic out of the hat again to be able to win a game like that. It just that doesn't happen often, let alone happen twice in the same playoffs. It's crazy. Yeah, 10 guys.
Yeah, yeah, 10 guys, 10 guys. um,
So
yeah,
I
I
like the
mean, but
Rams, and just think about this too. And this was an insane stat I was thinking about the other day on my quick car ride home. We went 54 Super Bowls, and the home team never hosted. There's a really, really good chance that we're going to go back to back with teams hosting their own Super Bowl. That's crazy. 54 in a row
mhm,
where you don't get any, and then you end up with two back to back. That's so
that,
weird stats happen in the Super Bowl, and that's just one of the new ones that they're adding on there. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah, it definitely is. But Chris actually chimed in a little earlier where he says this. Maybe the 49ers will cover Cooper Cup, which I mean, yeah, it didn't happen last week, and but the other thing is, okay, yeah, fine, they cover Cooper Cup, but you still got to deal with Beckham, who seems to have found a rejuvenated game going to the Rams. I think that they are just too powerful for, yeah, I mean, at least for the 49ers, in this game. I mean, to me, it should be a walk in the park for the Rams to get past the 49ers. But, it's what they say any given Sunday, and, this is, conference weekend. So anything can really happen. So,
I just don't
um,
understand McVay sometimes too. Like that game in Tampa, you step on the throat there, you put them away. You don't go. You don't.
do you think he overthinks?
I think he thought, well, we're up enough. Now it's time to just bleed the clock instead of just saying, you know what, this is what we do well. We're going to continue to do this, and we're going to continue to put points up. I think he went with a conservative game plan. That team is not built to play conservative football. Like they're
No.
decent running the ball. Like if Sony Michelle, and that Panasonic Michelle, they can run the ball a little bit. They got
Hmm.
Cam Akers is back, but they're not built to run the ball. They're built to play with a mix. They're built to play action. They're built to do a variety of different things, get the ball downfield. The second you stop doing that, it disrupts the flow. You're pretty much guaranteeing yourself that you're going to punt. And they punted so many times in that fourth quarter and just kept putting the ball back in Brady's hands and putting it in his hands and putting it in his hands. Who was it that fumbled? Was it Cam Akers that fumbled or no?
I,
Who was
geez,
at
I
the
don't know. I
end?
think it might have been Akers.
Yeah. It's like
Or no, Michelle, I think. I think Michelle.
it might have been Sony Michelle. It might have been I forget who it was, but the late fumble in the fourth quarter. It's like, come on, guys! Like he's just got to he's got to look himself in the mirror before the game and say, we're going to stick to what we do well, and I'm not deviating from the plan. And if they do that for the next two games, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
No, it was Chris is right. It was Cam. He fumbled. He fumbled twice and once at the end. So good look there, Lahif.
Good player, but he didn't play all year long, so stuff like that could happen. That's the
Hmm.
danger you run playing guys like that in big spots and big minutes.
See, and I had said before, right before the playoffs started, that with them in the playoffs and announcing that he was going to be coming back, um, Cam Akers by the Super Bowl, if they got to the Super Bowl, this kid's going to be like he would be 100% and probably take the training wheels off and just let him do himself or do let him be and do himself. That's crazy. Just let the wheels off and go.
Yeah,
Um, I'm that's another reason why that they're so scary to
he's
me.
a matchup. He's a matchup nightmare on a linebacker too. He's just
Yes,
so
he
quick,
is.
and he's a combo quick and fast. He's just there. Pressures all the Rams. Offensive.
If anyone like you'll be listening on the podcast, we have a person, Joseph Arden. He chimed in and he said pressure is on the Rams and their offense isn't a physical offense. if you play man to man and not too deep zone like Tampa Bay does, or a cover 7 or a cover 4, and make Stafford hold the ball more and hit him, and they will lose again. Which, I mean, I think he's right. I don't think he's wrong. I mean, that's a great point. Good job, Joseph.
But you know what though, if Whitworth and Havenstein are both healthy, they're going to be able to keep Stafford upright, and they are going to be able to protect him long enough that he's going to be able to make plays still. I just don't think San
Yeah,
Francisco's going to be able to score enough, and I don't
yeah.
think Kansas City's actually going to play enough man-to-man defense. If they don't get, if their pass rush doesn't get home either, they're screwed. They're going to get picked apart on the back end. I know Tyrann Mathieu will probably be back. He just had the concussion. But that Chiefs secondary doesn't wow me.
No, no,
The
they
49ers
don't.
defense is good. They might slow the Rams down a little bit, but the Rams are still going to outscore them.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. Um, but yeah, okay. So I mean, we're both taking. And Chris even he chimed in earlier. Well, he sent me his picks. He took KC. So we all have the same Super Bowl. We all got the same picks. So we'll see what happens. Um, but again, I'm literally just looking for these conference title games. Normally they're snooze fest, and I'm hoping that these don't look like they're going to be snooze fest, and we're going to have like actual really good playoffs the entire playoffs for this year. And I don't ever remember that. I really don't. It always was a wild card weekend and then a divisional round game. Those were the toughest games. But now we have some really good conference title games with a lot of really good players, and I'm excited. I'm just really excited. Like Sunday's going to be a hell of a day.
Well, let me ask you: have you looked at the forecast too for Sunday? How's it looking? I mean, it doesn't matter for SoFi Stadium; it's inside, so that's not going to matter. But what's it looking like for KC? I mean, like, I imagine it's
Um,
cold. We're in like the peak Arctic blast territory. It's
let's
cold as hell
see.
here.
I'm trying to see what the yeah, I'm trying to see what it is. I mean, what I'm looking at here doesn't have the weather forecast. It just has the KC -7 over under 54.5. Um, yeah, I don't see anything that talks about the weather. So I don't know what the weather forecast is going to be for Kansas City. Oh wait, here we go. What we got here? No, doesn't have anything. It's just got game type, date, time, networks, and local. Nothing about the weather. That's amazing. Weather always plays a factor, especially in Kansas City. This time of year, it's got to be frigid as all hell in Kansas City.
I got my son
Oh,
looking it up for us. I'm kind of curious. Like I said, I'm wondering if we get any kind of weather, how that's going to affect it. It's two cold weather teams though, so I don't expect it to
yes.
really be that big of a difference. But you never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, even if there's some snow on the ground, like I love the ending of the Green Bay game because it started snowing. I absolutely
Yeah,
loved it. I mean, to me, that's football. That's playoff football to me. And I guess that's one reason why I always love the fact, like, if Green Bay's in the playoffs and they host a game, I always wanted to snow in Green Bay for whatever reason. I love that style of football. I love
and,
that.
and it's weird. It doesn't seem like it does snow there a whole lot. It seems like it's
Right.
it's cold, but it doesn't seem like they
hmm
get a whole lot of precipitation because it's always you see the guys playing. The grass looks like kind of grayish. You see the smoke coming out or the mist coming
hmm
out of their mouth, but you never see the snow. Whereas Buffalo, you go there and there's snow piles pushed against the side of the wall at the stadium, and you know
Yeah.
you know, yeah you know that you know.
Yep. And I mean, I've experienced that firsthand in Buffalo. I went and saw the Packers play in Buffalo. Buddy of mine, big Packers fan, wanted to go and see him, and yeah, he wanted to see Rodgers, and we got there. I mean, it was exceptionally cold. Like I wasn't expecting to be that cold, and I had to go and buy like snow boots at Walmart. Like we got into town. I was like, right to Walmart. Forget the damn hotel. I gotta go to Walmart and get friggin' snow boots. And I wasn't prepared for how cold that day was. I just wasn't. I was frozen everywhere, and I was wearing like two pair of thermals. And I'm watching Bill's Mafia jumping through tables and like just setting stuff on fire, and they're
Those are the same.
crazy.
Well, they're the same people that it snows a foot and then they're up. digging out and going to work still.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable to me too. Like I know everybody probably has 4-wheel drives and remote starts and this and that, but that's still like foot of snow having to shovel all that crap in and go do a whole day's work. I would
I
never get used to that.
we were walking. My buddy Steve and I were walking through the tailgate, and these guys they were literally sitting there like it was so cold. They had a generator and they had an engine block warmer hooked up to their car. And I said, "Wait, you have an engine block warmer hooked up to your car?" He goes, "Well, this thing's kind of the biggest piece of shit ever." He said, "So if as soon as it freezes up, he said, I'm done." He said, "So I have to keep this thing going." He said, "I'll have this running the whole game." I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "That's insane." He's like, "I got to keep her warm or she's not going to run." I was like, "Oh my god."
That's
I said, "I
crazy.
couldn't do it. I couldn't do that. I couldn't live like that."
I yeah, I couldn't imagine living in a town like that. I mean, I'm used to the weather in Philly. Philly's not that doesn't have great weather, but man, like this is a totally different atmosphere up at that place.
Yeah, right, right. Let's see. Joseph Arden, he chimes in with, if you play man and send extra rusher and design it well, it makes Stafford think more, and that is when he throws picks and makes bad decisions. He doesn't use the check down either. Cardinals and Tampa Bay played soft. Niners won't allow more than 20 points this week. They took the Cowboys offense out of rhythm and also the Packers. Not, he says Niners win. Oh, I mean that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I mean, if they do exactly what he says and they could win the game, that would be something else. But I mean, even if that happens, they're not getting past Kansas City.
I mean, I look if they hadn't played twice this year, I'd probably say, yeah, you know what, that makes a whole lot of sense. They match up. Let's see what they
Right,
do. But they at this point, when you've played the team twice and they're an in division rival. You kind of know at this point what they're going to do. The Rams are specifically looking at, and they have a lot of tape of looking at how they're going to try to match up with them again, and they're going to have specific plays in there that are going to disrupt what the 49ers want to do. And
right.
I'm telling you, the 49 that's going to be a two-score game too. Rams are going to win by 2 scores.
Yeah, I can't see. I
I
mean,
like Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. Like I say, he's a real
he
good coach.
is.
One of the best in football. But yeah, they're going down that game. I think it's going to be a 2-score game.
Yeah, I mean, man. I mean, God bless you, Joseph. I mean, yeah, I know. Sounds like he's a Niners fan, which is good.
Uh-huh.
Hey, that's fine. His opinion's his opinion. But man, that's going to be that's a tough order right there to try and take those guys down. That's a really tough order. All right, so we got. All right, so we have. All right, so all three of us chose. Oh, Joseph, you're an Eagles fan. Okay, very good. All right, but definitely. Definitely okay. So I'm like still sticking with it, but yeah, I don't see the Niners winning this game. I really don't. Be amazing if they do, because I like hey I was saying it all year long. Like for people talking about Jalen Hurts, well, prove me wrong. Just prove me wrong.
Right.
So I hope the Niners do prove me wrong, but I doubt it. So so all right. So that means we're setting up for Kansas City and the Rams in the Super Bowl. So I'm I'm going to go Rams. I'm going to take the Rams. If that's the Super Bowl, I'm taking the Rams. I think like we were talking earlier that they're built to beat Kansas City, and I mean Kansas City is they're tough to beat. I mean they're the first team in the history of football to host four AFC or host four championship games, let alone AFC. So I mean, and they're history making team this year. So, but yeah, I'm going with if that's what the Super Bowl is, I'm taking the Rams.
There's no. There's no. I said at the beginning of the playoffs, most talented team in this playoffs is the Rams. Defensively, offensively, they have the most talent on the team. The pass rush that they can generate from the middle, from both ends, what you can cover on the back end, they are the best team talent wise in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
like both sides, they are. I agree with you 100% on that.
they won a classic a couple of years ago against Kansas City on I think it was a Monday night or a Sunday night, It was a 54-51 game, and they did it with Jared Goff, who's not as good as Stafford, you know.
Right.
And that was a Rams team that wasn't as good as this team now, and I think the Kansas City team was better than the team is now. I think Kansas City 2 years ago was a better team than Kansas City now. Some people might disagree with it. I think that they are. But I like I said, I think the Rams playing at home again, most talented team. There's no way if they get to the Super Bowl, there's no way they're going to lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah, and again, I just don't think that they can beat the Rams 3 times in a row in one season. Like I said,
Yep.
the playoffs are a totally different animal, and that's like that in every sport. You hit playoff time. The games are played differently. They're coached differently. They're more intense, and yeah, it'll be make or break. Of course, loser goes home, which is what makes the NFL playoffs so awesome. It's not a 7 game series. It's do or die. That's it. It's like every game is sudden death, basically, unless you go into sudden death. But um, um, but okay, so that's that. Now we got a little bit of time to go still. I mean, we've only been, well, technically on air, well, talking 30 minutes, but live on air for 26 minutes, due to my faux pas. Um, so you're a New England Patriots fan. Chris and I are Eagles fans. We have a lot of Eagles fans that tune into the show here. But just to keep talking for a little bit longer, Pat, let's kind of do like a little preview of what your Patriots offseason you think is going to be like.
I don't think they can really do a whole lot free agency. They have, I think they're right around 30 million left. They're going to see a lot of people go. J.C. Jackson, I think, is going to go in free agency. Good corner, has been right at the top of the league for interceptions the last 2 years. Not a lockdown guy, though. Like, he didn't take Stefon Diggs out of the game when they played Buffalo. Neither time, the last 2 times they played, he didn't take them out of the game. You can't pay him lockdown money if he's not locking people down. So I think that's a guy, some teams going to overpay for him. You can't afford to overpay him, so you got to let him walk. So they're going to lose him, big part of the defense. Coming out of the break after their 7 wins, turn that down. After coming out of their bye week, having won 7 in a row, they did not come out looking fresh. And I don't know why, but Kyle Van Noy looked very old. Jamie Collins looked very old. Jamie Collins was, a linebacker who could cover, big wide receivers and tight ends early in his career. He was very athletic, very fast. He looks like somebody that's just strictly going to be a pass rusher at this point. Hightower's cooked. Too many injuries. Year off for the COVID break. He took the full year. I think he's done. Devin McCourty, really good career. I think he's done too. It seems like he's lost a step. You drafted Kyle Duggar already to come be the guy. You have a couple of good safeties. You have Bryant, and you just signed Phillips again. McCourty's going to be gone. So you're losing a lot of people that were big-time contributors to the team during your last 3 Super Bowl runs. And it's going to be hard. It's going to look, the teams are going to look a lot different. And you don't have a whole lot of money to go try to bring people in. From a safety standpoint, they have guys. What do you do at corner? Well, I know they're talking about, this is a really deep corner draft. This is a really deep wide receiver draft. You do need to get a wide receiver. They're talking about the kid from Bama towards ACL. He might drop to where the Pats are in the mid-20s or low 20s. Coming off an ACL nowadays, especially non-contact one, I don't think you're really going to be out as long. So that could be a possibility. They're also saying maybe they go corner and then they go back and to get Mechie in the second round, which would be awesome. Mechie's supposed to drop to the second round if it's deep. I think that's, that'd be an awesome one too. But they really need to reload on defense. They don't have a linebacker that's sideline guy. Juwan Bentley is strictly a run stuffer. You need a guy. I'm not going to say you need a guy like Micah Parsons. Every team needs a guy like Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is special, but you need a guy with that similar skill set. Somebody who's very rangy, can move around. They don't have it. And playing against Josh Allen and the Bills 2 times a year, they're going to have to load up heavy on defense. So this draft's going to have to be very heavy defensively. They're going to have to bring guys in that Belichick, like almost like a Matthew Judon. Matthew Judon, they signed him for decent money, and he basically gave him a Pro Bowl season. You need to go find the next Matthew Judon. You need to put him on the other side of Matthew Judon, and then you need to go and you need to draft a ton of linebackers there. Bring in free agent linebacker, somebody like the Eagles brought in a couple of years ago, like Nigel Bradham, a veteran, good player. He runs your system well, and they're generally pretty good at finding guys like that. But that's really what the Pats need to do. Pats need to add to the skill position, specifically wide receiver, and they need to reload on defense. Their line, I think, is fine. It's really the linebacker position and corner they really need to add on.
Okay. Chris brings up a good question. Does Brady and Aaron Rodgers retire?
I think Brady does.
I think Brady does too. I really do.
I think he does. I know from watching like the documentaries and stuff that follows him around, Giselle has been on his ass for years about retiring.
Right.
People forget, she was the breadwinner, probably still is. When she endorses a product, they can't keep it on the shelves quick enough.
Yeah.
So she gets mega bucks for endorsements. And she gave that all up to let him kind of just, go through the last parts of his career. And she's waited now for a long time. And I think she's ready to kind of come back, or she's ready for him to actually be home with the family all the time. Because, it's tough living with a guy like Tom Brady. He's obsessed with winning. That gets the lion's share of his time. He's got a little girl. I think she's probably 8 or 9 at this point. I'm sure she's old enough to know at this point that it's taking up a lot of time and taking time away from her dad. She wants him there. His boys are probably, I think his one son, his middle son's my son's age, so he's around 11. And he's got another one that's like 13 or 14. These kids are all growing up, and he's missed most of it.
Now I'm gonna pull a comment up real quick from Chris, where together Brady and Giselle are worth $589 million combined.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That
is absolutely insane.
I think about 350 of it's probably her.
Probably.
Or 400. It might even be 400. She's worth more than he is by a lot. Like I said, if she went out and she endorsed a ketchup brand, that ketchup would be flying off the shelves. And she's gold with everything she touches. It's amazing. And like there's a lot of stuff to back it up. Like they can't keep the stuff on there.
Right.
And besides, if she's begging you to stay home, Maury, would you want to say no to that?
Yeah, I don't think I could say no if Giselle was
so I mean,
stay
like
home.
I said, yeah.
Really?
No, I'd rather go out and play football and get hit. Like what?
Yeah.
Like what? Tom Brady might be the only guy on the planet that thinks otherwise. That's why he's the greatest of all time. But at the same time, too, you look at him, you're just like, dude, like, come on, man, like, what are you doing? Like, stay home with her, she's begging me to stay home. I'd be staying home, So, but
here it is. Chris found it out. Tom Brady worth 250 mil. So you're right.
I'm surprised it's that close. So she's worth like 59 mil more than he is. I would have thought it was a little bit more. I would have thought it was like 80 mil or 90 mil more. So he's closing the gap a little bit, I guess. But yeah.
Well, maybe that's the last thing he needs to surpass, so he can see he's the best at everything.
Maybe he's competitive. So
funny.
It's funny. Early in his career, he actually joked around about getting into politics when he was done. And I think I don't know if he at the time anticipated that he'd be playing into his mid-40s. Now he's kind of late to the game. But he joked about that early on, and then wanting to be like Steve Large and guys like that
right.
Jack Kemp that went into politics. And, I think it was actually when he got involved with her that he stopped talking about that. But, they own a bunch of properties. He'll get competitive. He'll get involved in something else, and he'll channel that some other way.
I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the road we see him doing like analyst stuff. Because I think he'll be kind of good at it, to be honest with you. Because when I was working on Monday nights, and I wasn't able to watch the Monday night games, I would see he would do the halftime report on the radio, and I'll tell you what, man, he just sounds like a natural on the radio talking. So I mean, he's got the personality for it. He also found something that they tried teaching me in broadcasting school, which was to control your breathing. and not elongate what you're saying and like kind of run out of breath while you're talking.
Yep.
He just flows. He's a great flow when he's talking about stuff. And I could see him going into being color commentary or an analyst, which I don't know if I could take seeing him on my TV anymore. I'd be like, all right, you finally retired. Now go away. Go away, my man. Go away. Go stay with your family.
I think see that's actually why I can't. I think he'll do like a podcast, like kind of like what we're doing. Him and
That'd be
Jim
kind of
Gray.
cool.
I don't like Jim Gray. I just there's been like times where I'm just like, he seems like a nasty guy. Him and Jim Gray get along really well, and they've
They
done
do.
shows on. I think it's Monday night. They've done shows, and I can see him continuing that just to kind of eat up his time. Um,
Yeah.
but I know the broadcasting thing is a pretty intense schedule too. Um,
Yeah.
and I think with him having made as much money as he's had, I don't see like a guy like Nate Burleson is great, and he's actually getting jobs now where he's like on Good Morning America and stuff like that. Like that's a guy who didn't make as much money as a pro, and he's now dabbling into that, and that's where he's probably going to make the majority of his lion's share of
Oh
money
yeah, when you
over the
hit
course of his
network
career.
TV stuff like
Hmm.
that, yeah,
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 I
yeah.
think he.
Go ahead.
I think it's more tailor made for guys like him. Now Strahan, of course, had a Hall of Fame career, and now he's like, he's going to end up being like a broadcast Hall of Fame or two. But I think that's more the exception than the rule. We'll see though. I can't really see him. If he's gonna keep the schedule of a broadcaster, he might as well just keep playing football.
I always said Brady they'd probably have to take him out on a wheelchair. He
Yep.
probably just do something like that. Like the guy just loves playing. He really does. Now I am interested with Aaron Rodgers because I mean, it's strange. One minute he could become the next host of Jeopardy, next minute he could retire or stick around and be somewhere else. I think he ultimately does play at least one more season. I don't think it's with Green Bay. I think he's out of there. So along with him leaving, Devontae Smith is probably not going to be too far behind. Um, I mean,
Devontae
if they
Adams. Yeah.
or Devontae Adams, I'm sorry. I don't think they'll be too far behind each other. I think that's literally like a Brady Gronk situation. It really is. That's how I think. And I mean, but that's a lot of money to put in between two guys. That's a lot of money right there because I don't see either one of them doing like what Brady does and take a cut just so he can
No.
have a buddy play with him. Even though Brady, like I said, Brady takes cuts. He'll slide back on the money just so they can sign people and keep people in, which is one thing I always respected about him. That's an ultimate team player. Like he's willing to take less money to make sure that the core is together.
Yeah.
I always dug that about him. Rodgers, we know won't do that. I mean,
No.
for what like 3 4 years, that team had no defense whatsoever, and he just went out there and slung the ball around. Like whatever. Here I am. I'm doing my job. Um, I'm interested to see where Adams goes though. I don't think he stays in Green Bay. I think they're
Oh
both
no.
out.
He's not. He actually came out and said that. He says him staying in Green Bay is completely dependent on where Rodgers goes. Now,
Yeah.
people like Chris mentioned it that he's going to be a Bronco. Why, if you're Aaron Rodgers, why would you want to go play for Denver? Other maybe he likes to smoke weed. I don't know, but they test for that in the NFL. I that so like if if Brady does retire, the first thing I would do is I would call Bruce Arians to say, hey, you need a quarterback. Why don't I come down and play for you?
Right.
They already have the pieces in place. They got a good defense. They have Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's probably not going to come back because he's a free agent. I don't think they can re-sign him.
Right.
But Scotty Miller's not bad. You're going to get probably a veteran somewhere that's going to say, I'll play a year down there with Aaron Rodgers. You get more money because it's the tax situation down in Florida, so it's going to go further. If you're at the tail end of your career like Rodgers is and you want to try to keep some more of your money, Florida's the place to be. And like you said, that's a team that has won already, and that would be my first phone call. Brady retires and I'm Rodgers. That's the first place I go. There's not too many teams in Florida. There's three of them. Tua, I don't think he's going anywhere. He actually played half decent towards the end of the year,
Yeah, I
and
thought he did
nobody's going to
too.
play Jacksonville, so nobody's going to play. Even though people may like Byron Leftwich, nobody's going to play for Jacksonville. So
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, oh, God, Jacksonville. What a shit show.
Yeah, that's because of that owner. That owner's an idiot. And I saw a real sports thing about him. I thought, you know, he seems like a cool guy, but the more it comes out about him, it's just like, man, you're an idiot. He's completely just delusional with how things should happen with that organization. So he's pretty much the AFC South version of Daniel Snyder.
Right, right. Here we go. This is what Chris has to say. Green Bay offensive coordinator, head coach at Denver. They are built to win right now. Stud wide receivers. Yeah, well, hey, that's a good case. That is a good case. He's got a familiar face there.
Think about this though. So they're built to win now. If he's chasing rings, does he have a better chance of getting back to a Super Bowl playing in the NFC or the AFC?
What's that again? Say that.
If Rodgers wants to try to win another Super Bowl, does he have a better chance of getting back to the Super Bowl playing in the NFC at this point or the AFC?
I'd say NFC. There,
Right.
there's, there's the AFC is so stacked, like
Yeah.
all over the place. They are. There's teams that we didn't even talk, we haven't spoken about that have good young quarterbacks. Especially Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Some people say he still has some developing to do, and that's fine. But he's a hell of a talent. He's a quarterback that gives defenses nightmares that they know that
Yeah.
they have to go up against. So I mean, there's just so much talent on
I mean,
on
think about this too. I mean, you know, granted, Chris is right. There's talent. They're built to win and everything. But do you really want to go to the division that has Justin Herbert in it, the Raiders, who just came off of a playoff appearance, and the Chiefs? I mean,
right.
it's murderer's row in that division. That's the toughest division to win in football. You know, the Chargers were a good team this year. They didn't make the playoffs. Um, if I'm going to go to an AFC contender that might be built to win now, if I was going to go to an AFC team, I'm keeping an eye on the situation in Tennessee to see what they do as far as Ryan Tannehill, because there's a
Hmm.
team with good wide receivers. There's a guy you can hand the ball off 200 or 300 times and not have to really worry about it. They got a good defense. I don't think him and Mike Vrabel would get along. I think Mike Vrabel will get tired of him, probably punch him in the face by week 12. But um, you know, and then to go back to my Bucks point, the Saints just got Sean Payton's gone. They're like 43 mil over the cap. They're going to be bad this year. All right.
Right.
Carolina, I don't think anybody thinks Carolina and Matt Rule's going to be working out anytime soon. So they're going to be bad this year. You know, the AFC or the NFC South is a weak division. I just think he would go there. He picked that division apart. There's 6 easy wins. You pick up 4 more somewhere else along the way. You're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a playoff spot, and then anything can happen. So I think you said I'm. If Brady retires, man, I'm shaking that tree. I'm calling them as much as possible because Matt Ryan might be out in Atlanta too. That division becomes the worst division in football. It's right for the
You
picking
know
for him.
what? It's funny you said that. I wasn't even thinking about that. I mean, Matt Ryan, yeah, he could be on his way out too.
Yep.
Um, wow, yeah, I never even thought about that. But I mean, they needed a quarterback in Atlanta for the last couple of years, and they stuck with Ryan. I think they did that mostly because of his dead cap hit. I really do. I think they're just like, look, we're just going to eat it up. He's been with us a while. He's been productive. Just do what he's got. But man, he's got to be on the way out now. They're going to be looking to make a move for a quarterback somewhere along the line.
And that's what I mean. If and the most talented team in that division is the Buccaneers. Still, if they
Yeah.
can get a quarterback, they're fine. And that's what when people were talking about, we'll get Russell Wilson to come here. Like, there's a lot of teams that are like Russell, like Tampa Bay might end up with him or somebody. Like, it's gonna be, it could get pretty crazy. The quarterback market this year could get absolutely insane.
Oh,
With
it's going to be insane. It's going to be insane. I'm okay. All right, look, you have a starting position that definitely just opened up in Pittsburgh. All right, so there is 100% something that's open. You
and you
may
know what
have
though,
one.
that's a city too where I wouldn't be excited about playing in Pittsburgh, but it's the Roonies and it's Mike Tomlin. Like, they've won, so like I wouldn't go to Pittsburgh to play if I was a player. But in that situation with the ownership and with that coach, I would definitely think that's a good situation.
I mean, Tomlin's never had a losing season,
Yeah.
and and he doesn't have control over his roster.
Yep.
That's the other thing. And they put the players out there, and he just coaches that the players buy in. And you're right. It doesn't look like the most attractive place at times, but there's stability there.
Yeah.
There is stability. I mean, they've had what, two head coaches in the last like, or three head coaches in like the last like 40 years.
In my lifetime, I'm 38 years old. The only coaches I remember are Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin. They're the only
Right.
coaches I remember coaching there. And
Me
like you said,
too.
it's hats off to the Rooneys. The Rooneys are great owners. They really
Yes,
are.
they
It's like
are.
it's funny. You look at them, and they're intermarried with the Maras. So somebody married one of the Rooneys married one of the Maras, and um, the Maras, I know they've won 2 Super Bowl, but for the most part, like you look at their organization, it's a dumpster fire. Now, Wellington Mara died, and I think that had a lot to do with it. But now that family can't get anything together. Whereas you look at the Rooney family, and they're all buttoned up. They always, no matter who dies, that organization does very well. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny how you look at it from two things. Like you have one family, they were the jewels of the NFL. One person dies, it goes to shit. And you look at the Rooneys, they just never stop. They just keep
Just never
producing
stop.
kids and families, and the black and gold just keeps on moving. It's
Just
crazy.
keeps going. Just keeps on going. But no, I mean, if I was a player, I would that. I mean that would get me to Pittsburgh is the stability, the tradition.
The
They have it
tradition's big,
together.
yes.
Yeah, they have a huge tradition. They have, like I said, stability. They got great ownership. I mean, they have an amazing coach who I remember just a couple of years ago, people were saying, "Oh, he's got to go." I'm like, "What do you mean he's got to go? He hasn't had a losing season.
Yeah,
That's telling you something. Like, what do you mean he's got to go? Like, this isn't Marvin Lewis. This is
yeah.
Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? Like that always got me. Um, and yeah, so I mean, like you definitely have an open spot, and I don't think that they trust Mason Rudolph. I mean, he had a shot
No,
when Ben was hurt, and he didn't impress. I mean, and he's kind of
he's a
Ben
backup.
Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big kid, big arm, but just can't put it together. So I mean, but you're right. This offseason though, with between free agent quarterbacks are going to be traded on the move, and then the quarterback class coming in. Even though it's not an attractive quarterback class, there's always one. There's always one that sits back and does his thing and shuts everybody up. There's always that one. Um, I mean, I remember the guy. I remember the guy that I actually thought was going to be good was going to be Rick Myra. I thought he was going to be a good quarterback, and it turned out to be Bledsoe. But they were both like highly touted players, and it turned out that Bledsoe had the career. Myra was the backup, pretty much everywhere he went after Seattle because he sucked.
They thought Rick Meyer was going to be like the next Joe Montana because they looked the same, and they both went to
I
Notre
remember
Dame. And
that.
I remember my uncle Jared got me like his rookie card because he didn't have kids of his own. He went and he was a big Seahawks fan, and he grabbed that kid's rookie card. He said, "Hold on to that because that's going to be worth money." But he just that guy never got up off the ground. It's a shame. Um,
Yeah, he.
but I mean, I'm just trying to think for like San Francisco might even be looking for a quarterback. I know what Jimmy G's done and everything, but I mean, from a fan's
Well,
perspective,
they
I
well
had
they
Jimmy G on my team. Like he's made of glass, so even if he gets you to a Super Bowl this year, he might come out week 2 and pop his ACL, and then he's going for the rest of the year
yeah.
again.
Don't forget they drafted Trey Lance. I mean, I'm not huge on Trey Lance, but yeah, man, I don't know. Like I can't see them. You have that money invested in Garoppolo, who's probably going to be gone. You just put a lot of capital into getting Trey Lance. Do you really think that they go after another quarterback?
So Trey Lance got some opportunities this year. Now it's early, and he was raw to begin with in a project.
Hmm.
I don't know if that team's built to have a project at quarterback right now. I think right now they have a game manager in there. I think they're looking for somebody that can just push them over the top. By the time the project's ready to go, if that's 2 or 3 seasons from now, a lot of people's contracts are going to be turning over and they're going to be leaving, or they're going to be because they're going to be asking for more money and things like that.
Right.
I think they might just say, "Hey, especially with a team like, let's say, a team like Seattle, even though they're in, well, I'll just use them as an example. Their division team, I don't see them doing the deal. But if you go to a team like Seattle, who's clearly in like rebuilding, and you say, hey, you got a good veteran quarterback. Why don't we do a deal? We'll give you Trey Lance for him and a couple picks, and there you go. Because Wilson's not happy where he's at anyway. Now you might have your quarterback of the future along with some draft capital, and San Francisco's walking away with their polished, ready to go quarterback that can get that team from being in game manager mode to being in attack mode on offense. Oh, by the way, we have this really good defense that now you have to try to score on. Um,
Right.
I see that kind of playing out as that scenario. Even though, like you said, Lance didn't look good when he came in. If there's a team that's clearly in rebuild mode, you can definitely get them to sucker them. Or I'm sorry, let me turn the TV off here. You can definitely sucker them into making that kind of deal with you, and I see that happening. Like I said, I really think that's going to end up what it's going to be because I just don't see Kyle Shanahan waiting anymore. That team, like you said, they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They're built to win now.
Look at Chris.
Josh Allen was a project. He was, but at
He
the same
was.
time, too, Buffalo was not built to win yet.
Right.
San Francisco's already—they're there. It'd be like Trey Lance playing with Buffalo now. Think about that. That's what you're. If Trey Lance starts next year, it's Josh Allen even like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was, playing with Buffalo now. Like it wouldn't gel. I think they
Right.
need to find somebody that's a little more steady in there. Somebody again that knows how to run an offense, knows how to win big games. And you're not going to get that from Trey Lance yet. I don't think they have the time to wait either.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with them. Now, Joe Arden put in there earlier said the Bears, and I was like, I don't know, like what do you think? You think they move on from Justin Fields? I like the kid. I think he's pretty good. I think he's another one that just needs to develop a little bit.
He looked awful. I think he's got bust written all over him. He looked absolutely awful when he got in, and
He did. He
sometimes
did. I'll agree.
sometimes when that happens, and it's the first time that ever happened in their probably entire career, it gets in their head. They're never the same, and I don't know. That was a bad situation for that guy. Now he's going to be learning a whole new offense this year. Essentially, it's going to be the second offense he's learning as a pro. I don't know who they're going to sign as a coach. The coaches there don't seem to really last very long. Matt Nagy lasted a little bit longer, I think, than the last guy. But you could be looking at another situation, another year. He might be learning another system, his third system. Just I don't know. I didn't like the guy coming out of Ohio State, so I don't see that really working out for them. But the Bears aren't really a sexy option either. I mean, you got Allen Robinson there. You got a good running game, but
Well, Robinson might be out of there. There's a
yeah,
lot of talk about that.
if they go and they get a big name quarterback, though, does he stick around? But like again, if I had my choice between some of the teams that are available, I'm not going to Chicago.
Right.
Too damn cold, not a good situation. They don't even have a coach yet. They've been going through coaches like their underwear. I just that's an organization I think I stay away from.
They actually hired a coach today.
Who they get?
I'm trying to look it up now. I don't remember who it was. I
The only
know it was.
the only hire I saw was Byron Leftwich.
See, I missed that one. I didn't see the Leftwich one. I had so much going on today that I literally had no idea what was happening. I know I shared it somewhere. I thought I did, but yeah, I thought I saw that they hired a coach today because there was a lot of activity going on with coaches. So wait, where did Leftwich go?
Jacksonville. They
How
say he went
about
from being
that?
a player to a coach. Pretty weird.
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely weird. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to see. Yeah, I'm not seeing it now. I'm trying to. Oh, I'm not going to go crazy over it. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Bears to hire Matt Eberfluss or whatever his name is. Oh, that's it. Yeah, the what you call it? The Colts defensive coordinator. That's who he
Gotcha.
is. That's
You know
right.
what? I actually like that. There's not enough coaches nowadays that are coming from the defensive side of the football and becoming the head coaches.
Right,
And
right.
I prefer that myself. Staley
Okay.
out in LA, I think was the last big hire that was a defensive guy. I can't think of anybody else
Right.
offhand.
Yeah, I don't know. Chris is saying it's not quite official with Leftwich yet, but that's probably that's probably something that's just got to get some details worked out. Maybe that's something that could be announced in the next couple of days, like over the weekend. Could try the Jags could try and upstage the playoffs. You never know.
It's sounding like Josh McDaniels out to the Raiders as well.
Hmm.
That's
Chris
getting
is like,
big
look at
interest.
my
I know the
comments.
deal was made. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's always right. Okay, yeah, he's waxing that crystal ball between his legs. So, oh my gosh. But well, dude, this was a good episode. This was good. I enjoyed it. But it's that time to roll on out. I gotta get myself ready to head out tomorrow morning, and I need some bed sleep. We had we had our live broadcast last night from Monkey's uncle where we
I saw that.
interviewed
Yeah.
him. Yeah, that was fun. Like it's a shame we couldn't have the private Q&A up afterwards. You know that the people in attendance got to ask some questions, but um, I can't wait to read the book. Chris and I got copies of the book. He signed them for us. Um, that was one of the most fun things that we've done. I had a great time with that, and I can't wait to have Michael on the show with us to talk some sports. He was like, "Yeah, just hit me up." He said, "You know where to find me." So
That's cool. That's really cool.
yeah, and I am definitely gonna be trying like talking with him because there's a person in the audience that Chris and I really need to talk to at some point. Yes, there was. So we have a mutual interest here, a mutual friend there, but yeah, for those of you who didn't see the show last night, we were live from our one sponsor, Monkey's Uncle, where we interviewed Mike Sieski. He is a Philadelphia Inquirer sports columnist, award-winning columnist, and he's also a best-selling author. He just came out with a new book called The Rise, which is about Kobe Bryant, and it's just amazing. He was he was going in depth about these tapes that were given to him of Kobe Bryant, like when he was younger, like just talking and everything, and it's where he got all of his most of his information for the book. But everybody, if you're a Kobe Bryant fan, just go to the you can get the book at themonkeysuncle.net. They're selling it through their website. If you go to our website, CEV's cevsports.com, there's a link to Monkey's Uncle where you can go on there. There's discounts for shipping discounts and everything like that. Awesome store. Check it out. Um, and with that, I'm going to pull the plug on another great episode of the Philly podcast. So, Pat, thank you for joining me tonight.
Anytime.
Yeah, while Chris is adulting and getting ready for a business trip. So, all right, with that, everybody, thank you everyone who chimed in, who's been watching, and again, thank you to sixpackcoverage.com, La Terrain Watches, and Monkey's Uncle for sponsoring the Philly podcast. And everyone, good night, and have a good night. Where am I at here? All right, see you, everybody.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's easy to sum it up. We talking about practice.
Because it's about as casual as it gets.
What's the problem now?
That's a clown question, bro.
I think we ought to send a beating at least.
World champions!
Start playing with some jam in here. Let's go.
Philadelphia, looking as only you can look. Woo!
Here we go.